It's like 9 foot, 10.5 inches by 19 foot, 10.5 inches. And it's 14 feet tall. It can't be any higher than 15 foot, so the highest point is 14 foot tall. When I'm in here, it's the best place that I could be. This is the Beardmore Manor Museo de Moto, aka the smallest motorcycle museum in Texas. Hello, I'm Vincenzo Murphy and welcome to Beardmore Manor. There was a kid when we lived in El Paso in 1972 that got a mini bike for his birthday. And I was so excited by that. I told him, hey man, I can ride that. I know how to ride that. Because he was riding it around his backyard. He said, okay. And so he let me ride it. And I pulled the throttle all the way back and it shot me into, El Paso has rock walls everywhere. Everything's rock walled. I shot right into a rock wall and crashed. And that was my first motorcycle experience. Even though it was a mini bike, it was a motorcycle experience. And it never left me. My dad hated motorcycles. He was a medic in the Army. He worked in the emergency room. He saw a lot of people die on motorcycles, so it was a no-go. But my grandfather would go hunting around Kerrville. Told my dad, I got those motorcycles in the back of the truck. My dad said, what? He said, those boys are getting those motorcycles. My dad hung up the phone, called me and Dino into the room and said, looks like you're going to get those motorcycles. Here's the deal, I'm not paying a cent. If they don't run, you're going to have to figure it out. And you always have to wear a helmet, boots, and gloves. Corey was hanging out the side of it with the top down, and I was riding, so we got that great blurred image. And then once I was in the deserts of El Paso riding my motorcycle, my whole world changed because I became independent. I became who I was supposed to be, a guy that, you know, loved riding motorcycles, was totally into the whole thing, soup to nuts. I really learned about what freedom felt like and how that was my passport, you know, because I was a loner pretty much. I didn't have any friends or anything. My motorcycle was my friend. JLO is made, they're like a proprietary company that makes motors for all kinds of applications, from lawnmowers to other things, but they made motorcycle motors too. So this is a neat example of that. The money that started it all basically came from the sale of my 1924 Beardmore Precision Model F, one of only 4 in the world that was running. The Beardmore paid for the foundation of this building and then also the blacksmith shop next door. And it also paid for all the steel. So that was a really, and for Robbie to help me put it up. That was really, Robert Abdallah. That was really the thing that kind of made me go forward with it. And it took, from beginning to end, about 4.5 years to do. You can't be afraid of work, and you got to stick to it, because the thing is that it's daunting. You just got to stay motivated. You have to have the end picture in your head and walk to it in baby steps. It doesn't happen overnight. The rewards, though, are so great if you can get to the end of that, because the sense of accomplishment is incredible. To build a building is incredible. Then to make that building your space, and it's very personal. There's so many personal things in here as far as the way the door handles are, the little dragon hooks, the way the bookends are up there. All those little forgings and things like that are mine. That makes this place mine. It's got my stamp on it. And it's just fun to be able to do that. You know, it's fun to be able to see the reality of that come to fruition. This is a 1949 Vincent HRD Comet. They all give you a gift, and each gift is slightly different. But if I were to make that call, I would say it was my Comet. You know, my Comet, it won't get much better than the Comet. You know, I'm lucky to have this HRD, the Vincent HRD Comet. This Comet has been retrofitted with Brampton forks. It originally came with what's called Gurdrolics. Gurdrolics are a heavier front end. I like the way this front end feels. It's fun to gestate in your head and think about all the possibilities, but the execution phase is where the work begins. And it's easy to get overwhelmed because there's times where I just had to take a break because I really didn't know how I was going to do a certain phase of it. Like, for example, the hinges on the door. Those are all forged hinges. I didn't have any idea how I was going to hang them. I didn't know how it was actually, if it was going to actually work. I made these hinges in my blacksmithing class. There's a blacksmithing class called Architectural Hardware. And the teacher said, hey, what do you students want to do? And I told him, I want to make hinges. He goes, well, I don't make hinges. I said, well, this is an architectural hardware class. So we ended up making like a fireplace set and stuff like that. And I said, I still don't understand why you don't make hinges. I said, if that means you don't know how, that's fine. Let's learn together, but it should be part of your vocabulary. And he got upset with me. He said, fine, you can make a hinge. I'm just not going to help you. I said, okay. So then I figured it out. I wanted a long strap hinge because it's very traditional. These are called strap hinges. And I wanted it to be substantial. I wanted it to have a look of just strength. So when you open up the door, I've always been a fan of castor oil because castor oil took basically every motorcyclist around Isle of Man that ever raced. And so I had to do a castor oil homage, if you will. And so I painted the castor oil sign. And Doug Hector, I got this conrod from Doug Hector. So I thought that'd be a perfect door, and it is a perfect door. And then this badge right here comes off of a Vickers machine gun tripod. And that's courtesy of my friend Dave Rosenfeld. He's a machine gun expert. And so he gave me that. And it says welcome where it's supposed to have some kind of serial number. I put welcome on there. And then again, my touch mark is right here on the door. This is a guy named John Clark. John Clark went to school here in Austin and acquired this Vincent while he was going to school here in Austin. And he raced the heck out of that thing, and he still has it in a million pieces. This is my friend Dave Rosenfeld. Dave Rosenfeld has had 13 Vincents over the course of his life, and he lives in Smithville. He still has a Vincent. It's called Praito. And in fact, that's a drawing of Praito right there done by my friend Norman. Beardmore Manor brings to me immediate relaxation and happiness. It was built to house all the stuff that I've collected throughout my lifetime. James Gardner, when he was 18, bought a villa set out of DeLalo's in, I guess it's Dallas-Fort Worth area. It turned into Big D's. It became Big D Cycle. And he bought that. And he said it was sitting right next to a Black Shadow. And they wanted $1 for every mile that was on the clock. And it was like 1,350 miles. So they wanted that much money for it, which was a lot in those days. And he tried to get his dad to buy it. He said, son, you'd be dead in a day. There's no way we're going to get that for you. So he ended up with this little villa set Mac. And I interviewed him, and I wrote a story for Fishtail. Fishtail is a club magazine for villa set, and they made him the cover star, which is neat. I come in here to read. I've got my library upstairs. I come in here just to hang out and be among all the stuff that I've collected and to look at the pictures of my friends that have gone, because it's a memorial to them as well. This is a picture of my friend Richard Ong on a villa set that he had customized in California when he was in his California days. And then speaking of Richard Ong, here's a memorial of him. He's passed away. This is a neat thing that Doug Hector gave me. It is it's a mold for a pattern so that people could do casting. It's a casting mold. So it's all made out of hardwood. It's really beautifully done. I've never seen a motor like it because it's got 4 valves and a single cylinder, and it's a side valve setup. So I'm just curious as if this thing would have ever been anything. You know, it's just interesting. He also gave me this sleeve valve motor. Sleeve valves were a way that people worked around because poppet valves at the time weren't that dependable because the spring technology wasn't up there. But a sleeve valve has very little moving parts and it doesn't make a lot of noise. When people come by and see this, the reactions are usually, it's a lot. It's a lot to see, but they're easily blown away by it, and that makes me feel good, because if you come to a place, you need to have that visual joy given to you. You know, it needs to give you something that you would never have gotten any other place. That's what makes this unique. And so I really like when people come to visit, and I like their reactions, you know, and I also like to go to other places that other people have their dreams, and I can see how they've executed it, you know, because this is a small world. We're all kind of interconnected, and it's fun to be able to be part of that.